Yesterday, Sayadaw spoke about how only if one can apply a name when observing the presently arising object that arises within the large field of observation within one's body. Only when one can apply the names as we observe will the collected mind and knowledge and the bhavana mind develop. So one by one, the moment by moment, the mind becomes stronger and stronger. The observation becomes continuous, becomes better, and becomes mature. So the observing mind becomes mature, and especially when one reaches the stage of seeing the very fast arising and passing away of the objects, the labeling, the naming of the objects cannot keep up with the objects. And at that time, one has two options. One can note whatever one can note and let the rest go. Or one can let go of using labels entirely and just watch. So at that stage, there are two methods for observing. But when one sees the fleeting, very fast disappearance at the upper stages of knowledge, such as Paṇḍitā, they disappear, the objects disappear, everything disappears so fleetingly. At that time, one can't use any type of label. The Tajapanyati, the name that follows the name appropriate to the true nature, falls away. And at that time, one has to simply watch the objects of observation. When the attitude of mind and knowledge, or in other words, when samadhi bhavana and panya bhavana are well developed, then the labeling drops away. And form also is no longer present, the form of any part of the body. This is no longer present. And there's no longer santana panyati, is also not present. And manner, the position of the body or the part of the body that is being observed, also the akara panyati, the concept of manner, is no longer present. So all these things, the tajapanyati, the name of the object being observed, the form, concept of form, the concept of continuity, and the concept of manner or position, all these drop away. And at that time, the mind is firmly established in true nature, moment by moment. And yogis who practice respectfully can reach this stage in 2 or 3 weeks of meditation. Today, Sayadaw will pick up where he left off on the topic of Tadanga Santi, or momentary peace. Sayadaw first would like to explain the meaning of Tadanga Santi for review. Tadanga Santi is made up of 3 words, ta and anga and santi. So these 3 words are put together. And ta just means that, okay, but it refers to that or those virtues, good qualities. When our observation is good, in one noting, there's ardent energy, or atapa virya. Our effort to observe the object has momentum. And this is one particular good quality or virtue. To the extent that effort is good, sati will be steadfast. And this is another good quality. And with steadfast sati, the mind is collected on the object moment by moment. There is khanika samadhi. And this too is another good quality. One aims so that the mind will be focused accurately on the object, and this accurate aim is also another good quality. The mind becomes collected and concurrent with the object, and therefore one knows true nature. When observing the rising, one knows stiffness or tension, movement. When observing the falling, one knows relaxation, displacement, becoming quiet. So whatever object one focuses on, one knows sabhava, true nature. There's no more name involved. The form is not present. There's no concept of form. There's no concept of the manner or position. What is evident, every noting, is true nature. That is hardness, softness, coarseness, gentleness, moisture, flowing, cohesion, solidity, heat, warmth, cold, lightness, stiffness, tension, vibration. So all these things are known individually. Each of these things arise in their own time and are known. This knowing also is another quality, a good quality, ability or power, a capability. Virya is capable of dispelling laziness. As long as virya is arising, laziness cannot enter the mind. Sati protects the mind by preventing the kilesas from entering the mind stream. So it protects the mind, guards the mind, and makes the mind secure. This too is another ability. Khanika samadhi makes the mind collected on a single object so that the mind is not dispersed. This is another capability. The accurate aim makes the mind fall accurately on the object, exactly on the object. And so there's no kama vitaka, thinking about sense desires, no vyavara vitaka, and so on. This too is another ability. Accurate aim especially makes the mind fresh. It makes the mind open and blossom. And it dispels tina mita, sloth and torpor. Following vitaka is vichara, the quality of the mind rubbing against the object or becoming concurrent with the object. And then the mind is definite about the object. There's no wavering, no vichikecha or doubt. Doubt is dispelled. So this vichara is another capability or power. And so on. There are many powers involved in the mind at this point. And these are all factors. These are all good factors or parts. And if one puts them all together, they generate energy. Energy is produced. So ta in Tadanga refers to these powers, these individual good qualities. Anga refers to unbeneficial things, things that are without virtue, without goodness. These two, they are factors, unwholesome factors or unbeneficial factors. And with the wholesome factors, the good qualities, these unbeneficial ones are made calm. So if one doesn't generate good mental abilities, then bad ones will come into the mind. But because of the powers that are developed, the bad ones are suppressed. They are made calm. And this making them calm is called Santi. So Tadanga Santi means to calm, to quiet or quell the factors which are worthless, which are unbeneficial, with the factors which are capable, with the powerful factors of observation. And if these qualities, these good qualities, are occurring moment by moment, then moment by moment one has Tadanga Santi, or momentary peace. So one moment of these factors occurring is not much when you calculate it, but when you combine moment after moment after moment, they develop an energy which is amazingly strong. So one who knows the benefits of the Satipatthana practice and wants to gain them, who understands the method and works respectfully, carefully, cherishing the practice, not taking rests, each second of the time, such a yogi can dispel the worthless factors and have Tadanga Santi, momentary peace. So as far as one who works carelessly or superficially, there's no guarantee. In one noting, if one looks at the ability of the jhanic factors which are involved, it's quite obvious that they have powers. So when there is accurate aim on every arising object, the vitakka, quality of vitakka, makes the mind focused. This is a jhanic factor. And with vitakka, the mind becomes fresh and open. Tina mida, sloth and torpor, causes the mind to shrink and become contracted. So the factor of vitakka is its opposite. With vitakka, or aiming, this worthless quality of tina mida is suppressed. It can't rise up. With vichara, the mind becoming concurrent with the object, there's no wavering. The mind is definite about whatever object it falls on. When the mind falls on the rising, it knows the true nature that is there. It's definite about the object. And with every noting that involves accurate aim and the quality of vichara, then the quality of vicikicca is being suppressed. The quality of vichara is the opposite of vicikicca, doubt. So with this good quality of vichara, the unbeneficial quality of vicikicca is being suppressed, is being quelled. And following on accurate aim and the mind being concurrent with vichara, there will be joy or piti. Joy is the opposite of vyabhara, or anger, dosa. The factor of vyabhara, the angry, resentful, rotten mind, is eliminated. With the good factor of piti, the bad factor of vyabhara is being calmed. And following this, there's passaddhi, tranquility. Because of tranquility, happiness arises. Without tranquility, the mind can't be calm. So dispelling that, the bad factor, the unbeneficial factor, with this wholesome quality of tranquility, is Santi. And there's also restlessness and worry, udicca kukucca. So now, when this happy, quiet sukha is present, restlessness and worry are eliminated. with the factor of happiness. The unbeneficial factor of odicca kukucca, restlessness and worry, is eliminated. It's calmed, made quiet. This is Santi, peace. So if we have accurate aim 10 times, then that is 10 times that we will gain Santi, peace. In 1 minute, there may be 60 times of gaining Santi. 5 minutes, 300. In 1 hour of accurate aiming, 3,600. So one can calculate and see how beneficial it is. If one makes effort to note, then the clean mind will arise, and it will develop, it will flourish. So needless to say, when knowledge arises, this is even more so. The word guna in Pali means ability or power of something, whether this thing is alive or not living. It can mean, this word means ability or power. And these jhanic factors of vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekagata, they each have their individual abilities. They each are able to dispel one of the nivaranas. So they have this ability. When the nivaranas arise, these factors dispel it. They eliminate the nivaranas. So this is their power or ability. So when the jhanic factors are present, then these unbeneficial qualities called the nivaranas, the obstacles to wholesomeness, have no chance to arise in the mind. So consider what the mind will be like at this time. Kama vitakka, pyabara vitakka, vihimsa vitakka, these unwholesome thoughts of sense desire, anger, or of harming others are not arising in the mind. The mind is free of these unwholesome types of thought. When the mind is clean, free of unwholesomeness, will there be any unwholesome actions or speech? No, there won't be unwholesome physical or verbal karma created. No, there will one's body and speech, one's actions and speech will be clean, and one's mind will be clean. This is called sucharita in Pali. Sucharita means good deeds. These are what one will be doing, good deeds of body, of speech, and of mind. This is one's basic morality. So this occurs one moment after another. These are the qualities of a good person, these sucharitas. Good deeds of body, speech, and mind are present in a good person. And when they are occurring in good people, one moment after another, this is cause for a lot of happiness. If we compare this with the method of satipatthana or anupasana, then it's quite inspiring. The Buddha talked about 4 kinds of things to watch, to observe: kaya, Vedana, Chitta, and Dhamma. Kaya means the group of physicality. Vedana are feelings, good or bad, neutral. Chitta is thinking, planning, and all sorts of types of consciousness. And then Dhamma means the general phenomena such as seeing, hearing, tasting, and so on. So these are our large fields of observation, 4 kinds of objects that we watch. So when we observe kaya, that is, observe rupa, we observe, anupasana means to observe repeatedly. So when we observe kaya repeatedly, the arising kaya, within the large field of observation of kaya, this is kayanupassana, we observe the kaya called rising. We observe the kaya of rising as rising. We observe the kaya of falling as falling. We observe heat as heat, cold as cold, bending as bending, stretching as stretching. We observe in the walking, we repeatedly observe lifting as lifting, moving as moving, placing as placing, standing as standing, turning as turning. So within this group of kaya, we observe the ever new arising object of kaya repeatedly, and this is kayanupassana. This is also called satipatthana. This observation or anupassana, to observe, means first of all to have the quality of atapa, ardent effort. One can't be sluggish. One's effort to observe the object has to be active. One needs to be ready to observe the object when it arises, to push the mind so that it reaches the object. So when this effort is applied to observe the arising kaya, this is kayanupassana, repeated observation of kaya. Aim is also needed. This is the quality of vitakka. When we apply effort, then sati sticks to the object, and this is in Pali it is said satima. One has sati, but not just an ordinary amount of sati. One has a lot of sati, and this sati is praiseworthy because with sati, kilesas are not able to enter the mind. Virya prevents laziness and other kilesas from arising. Sati prevents them from entering the mind. So with sati, the mind falls collectedly on the object, and this too is another power, a mental power. This is samadhi. So with virya, sati, and samadhi, the samadhi group, samadhi kanda, occurs, and these occur together in the clean mind. When virya, sati, and samadhi are occurring on kaya, this is kayanupassana. On vedana, this is vedananupassana. On thinking, planning, and so on, this is chittanupassana. When this observation of virya, sati, and samadhi falls on various phenomena, this is dhammanupassana. So sati, steadfast sati is present. This is what is meant by satipatthana. Sati is firmly established. So patthana means firm establishment. And what is firmly established is sati, the steadfast sati. With applying ardent effort, sati falls on the object repeatedly. And then, when there's accurate aim, knowledge arises, and this is called sampajanya. So, sampajanya, satipatthana involves virya, ardent effort, courageous effort, steadfast sati, and kanika samadhi, which falls collectedly on the object, and accurate aim. This is samasankappa. And there's also sampajanya, right knowing, samadeti. So at this time, the three factors of the samadhi kanda are present: virya, sati, and samadhi. With accurate aim and sampajanya, the panya kanda of the path, the panya group, wisdom group of the path, is present. So in one who, when these factors are occurring in the mind, the samadhi khandha and the panya khandha. Will someone break sila at that time? No, they won't. So sila, the factors of the sila group are samavaca, right speech, samakamanta, right action, samaajiva, right livelihood. So these factors are automatically fulfilled when samadhi and panya, the samadhi khandha and the panya khandha are present. So in all, that makes 8 factors of the path. The entire eightfold path leading to Nibbana is present in Satipatthana. So this is the great path which leads to Achanta Santi, or Nibbana. Thus, to speak in terms of the method of Satipatthana, within the large field of observation of Kaya, Vedana, Chitta, Dhamma, the observation of every new arising object, sometimes Kaya is what is evident. Sometimes it's feeling, good or bad. Sometimes it's thinking, planning, and so on. Sometimes it's a general phenomena. But whatever the ever new arising object is, the method of Satipatthana is to apply ardent effort to observe that newly arising object steadfastly. And with ardent effort, sati sticks. And every time one knows nature, knows true nature, then when one is observing the arising kaya, this is kayanupassana. When one is observing the arising feeling, good or bad, this is vedanupassana. When one is observing the arising consciousness, thinking, planning, and so on, this is chittanupassana. When one is observing the arising general phenomena of seeing, hearing, and so on, this is dhammanupassana. So at this time, the components of anupassana are present, the ardent effort, steadfast sati, and knowledge, and samadhi. So these components of anupassana they are firmly established on every new arising object of kaya. When this happens, this is kayanupassana satipatthana, the firm establishment of our observation on every new arising object of kaya. So this is observation of walking, standing, lying, sitting, bending, stretching, blinking the eyes, opening and closing the eyes. When one makes ardent effort, when there is ardent effort, steadfast sati, the mind is collected and knowledge arises. This is kayanupassana satipatthana. So what is the present benefit of observing like this? It is said, Vineya loke abeja domanasang. So loke, this means in one's own personal world. One's own world is one's own body and mind. One's own world is the rising, is the falling. One's world is lifting, moving, and placing, blinking the eyes, opening and closing the eyes. These are all called loka because they fall apart after they arise. So this is called loka in Pali, or it's sometimes translated as world. So within this world of our nama and rupa, if one doesn't observe, then abeja domanasa will arise. Abeja, lobha, domanasa, dislike or sorrow. Why these arise is because one doesn't know things as they are. Not knowing, one craves things that one likes, and this is lobha or abheja. And when one encounters things that one doesn't like, when knowledge is not present, then one experiences sorrow, dislike, anger. So abheja domanassa arise when there's not observation. These are the things that could arise if we didn't observe. But because of observation, these are being dispelled, vinaya. In our own personal world, the lobha and dosa, which would otherwise arise if we were not observing, do not have a chance to arise, because with each noting, these are being dispelled. The kilesas are being calmed, quieted down, dying down. This is called Tadanga Santi. So this is speaking in terms of the method of Satipatthana. When one understands well what are the benefits of Satipatthana, when one has faith in these benefits, the desire or chanda to gain the benefits, and when one makes ardent effort to gain these benefits, when one does the practice, then whenever the object arises, with every new arising object, one applies ardent effort. There's steadfast sati. There's samadhi, making the mind collected. And every time there is knowledge arising. When knowledge doesn't arise, then one clings to what one likes, and one pushes away what one doesn't like. But with knowledge, there's no chance for the craving or rejection to arise. And this is what is meant by vinaya loke abheja domanasang. The qualities of virya, sati, samadhi, and anupasana are preventing the holding on and pushing away that would otherwise occur. This is Tadanga Santi, momentary peace. And when these qualities, one after another, these same factors occurring again and again, they gain power. And at that time, one develops vikambana santi. This is where not only is the mind clean, but it's very clean. And the kilesas, the mental defilements, are very far away from the mind at that time. So when one has anupasana, when upasana is there on the object of arising, on the object of observation, then the kilesas have no chance to arise. But with vikambana santi, even when one misses an object, kilesas do not arise, because one's observation, the factors of virya, sati, samadhi, and knowledge have such strong momentum that the kilesas cannot arise. So this is called vikambana santi. It's a type of peace. And this is the benefit, the profit that is gained in one moment of noting. So one can examine for oneself and see, is this type of santi arising in me or not? So if it is not, then it means that ardent effort is not being applied, or there's not steadfast sati, or there's not collectedness of mind, and there's not accurate aim. Without these qualities, knowledge will not arise. So tomorrow, Sayadaw will speak about what is anupasana or satipatthana, and he will also speak about Tadanga Santi, how it occurs in the moments of knowing, distinguishing between nama and rupa, and seeing how things are related as cause and effect. That's all for today. And seeing how